Now, SQL stored procedures are pre-compiled collection of SQL statements stored under user-defined name and processed as a unit. So they are used to encapsulate a set of operations or queries to execute on the database server. So they can improve the performance, ensure consistency of data as well, data manipulation, and enforce security policies. They can accept parameters, making them versatile for different operations and can just return results on the client's application. Some of the advantages of stored procedures is performance, because stored procedures are compiled once and they are stored in an executable form, which means subsequent executions are faster, and then reduced network traffic. And then operations that require multiple SQL statements can be encapsulated within a stored procedure, reducing the amount of information sent over the network. And then security, meaning permissions can be granted on the stored procedure instead of individual tables, which helps in securing data. And then maintainability. Business logic contained in a stored procedure is maintained on a server, making changes easier without really affecting a client application. Now, let's do an example of creating a store procedure. Suppose we want to create a store procedure that retrieves employees from a specific department. So we can create a store procedure this way. We can say create procedure get employee get employees, so get the spelling by department, and then we're gonna have at department name, then we'll have var varying characters, begin, ID, and then first name, and then last name, and then department. I always forget the salary. Let's put the salary as well. So, and then from our table employees, where department is at department. Just wanna type this nicely there. All right. Now we're gonna create this stored procedure, so it's actually created. So this stored procedure is named get employee by department. It takes one parameter, which is at department's name, and it returns a list of employees who belongs to that specific department. Now, if we wanted to execute it, instead of every time we want to get an employee by department, then we can just run a stored procedure. So we will actually do it this way. We say execute You can either write this in as exact, like exact, like this, or you can write the whole word execute. It's up to you. So the name of the store procedure is get employees by department, and then the at department name, they say is IT, and then I can execute. Now, I by this you can actually see it's a very short instruction, or it's a very short syntax, just executing the already created store procedure. So I can change the name and say, okay, maybe sales, and then execute, and then I can get sales. You see, so this command actually executes the store procedure, returning employees on the sales department. So just think of a store procedure as a recipe for a particular dish. All right. So the recipe or the store procedure contains a set of instruction, which is SQL statements that you follow to prepare the dish, and then you execute the database operation. Just as the recipe can actually take ingredients, which are parameters, you use a recipe. Uh, Using a recipe ensures consistency in making a dish, just as a stored procedure ensures consistent in data operations. Plus, once you've created that recipe, anyone in the household client application can actually use it to make that dish. So in our case, anyone can execute a set of database operations without needing to know the cooking techniques or SQL themselves. So remember, the SQL store procedures are powerful features. It's a powerful feature that allows you to encapsulate a set of SQL queries and commands into a single callable unit. So this can include like complex operations like data validation, data manipulation, meaning insert, update, delete, and transactions as well. So also they can accept parameters, making them highly versatile for various data operations and business logic. Now, let's say we want to create another store procedure. So this time I'm gonna use like shortcuts. We can say create proc instead of like create a procedure. So we can also use a shortcut create proc, and then add employee. Add employee. And then here we're gonna have add first name, and then add last name, and then what else do we have? Um, Salary, which is decimal, and then we have department, department, and then as, and then begin, insert into employees, first name, last name, salary, and then department. And then the values will actually come from those variables there. Just want to fix the spelling of department. Department. Okay. So this stop procedure, it adds a new employees to the employees table. So now if we go ahead and execute that, now, so we have a stop procedure called add employee. So now let's say we've got now a new employee and then we want to add him. So what we can do, we can add a new query, and then we can execute a stop procedure called add employee. Add employee, and then add first name, and then we've got, let's say, Maria, and then the last name, let's say we've got Smith, and then the salary, and we can say 65,000, and then at department, let's say is sales. Then we can actually select all from employees, and execute. Now this stop procedure actually added a new employee called Maria. So if we check here, then we will actually have Maria Smith on sales. So that's another example. So another example, we could have a stop procedure to update the employee's salary.